Hey there, I have a super cool new product to share with all of you, and I'm very excited to talk about it. And this is revolutionary in the battery world. I know this is going to be a very nerdy video to talk about, but if you use V-mounts or any external batteries for any of your professional video work, you're going to be interested in hearing about these batteries. There's a lot of new stuff in this that's really cool. Now, before I get into it though, disclaimer up front here, Core did send me these batteries to test and review, but they didn't pay me anything to make this video. They don't see this video before it goes up. An opinion about everything is my own, but I just want to let you know how I got these batteries. Now, I first saw these batteries when they were announced back at NAB earlier this year, and I was so excited about them. I told so many people about them. I was just fascinated, and my wheels started to turn immediately about how I could use these. I also know that Core is a great company with very reputable products. I have a lot of friends and colleagues that use their batteries on a regular basis, and they are very reliable. Also, the people at Core are very cool, and I enjoy talking with them. So big shout out to those guys. You guys know who you are. You guys are awesome. So let's talk about these batteries. I'm going to talk about what they are. They are 49 watt hour batteries. They're magnetic and stackable. They have a lot of cool features that have never been implemented in a battery as far as I know. Lots of ports. There's a new type of USB connector. They're going to be great for handheld mirrorless cameras or V-mount setups or larger rigs with accessories, things like that. And you can also check the information on each battery and modify some settings in the batteries with your phone too. So a lot of cool stuff in this video. So let's get started. First of all, what are these and how do they work? As I said, these are 49 watt hour batteries, and the thing is they're called snap batteries. And the reason for that is they have these magnets on the front and backs of the batteries that snap together. So your brain could probably already see where this is going, right? You can stack them together, and this will help with running multiple batteries at a time for either using or charging. So let me explain how this works. So you can basically have one battery hooked up to all of your stuff, and what happens is that when this battery dies, you can just pop another one on the end of it, and it will start pulling off of the battery that has the most amount of juice left in it. So if you have multiple stacked on here, I don't know what the maximum is, but you can put several on here, and I was playing with this at NAB. They only sent me 2 to play with. It will pull off of whatever battery or batteries have the most power. So for example, if you drain this first one down to 30% and you put a fully charged one on it, it will drain this one down to 30%, and then it'll start pulling off these 2 batteries equally. Now, if you had 3 or 4 batteries, it would pull off all of them till they were all equal, and then it would pull off all of them at the same time. So as I said, what's really handy is you can have one battery set up as sort of your base battery, and then you can hot swap the batteries off the back end of it. Now, this is really handy because you don't have to take connectors in and out. You don't have to have additional breakout boxes and stuff like that. I also think about cameras that you have, like, you know, the Komodo or the new Pixis 6K. When you have a 12G SDI port, you don't want to have to remove the power and the SDI cable. You can hot swap the batteries by leaving everything connected, everything's still working, and you can pop the batteries on and off on the back. In addition to that, you can charge all of them at once. Now, these batteries will only take 45 watts in. And if you just charge one battery, it will take 45 watts. So this will take about an hour to charge. You can plug in a charger that provides more than that. Like if you have a 65 or 100 watt charger, it will just regulate it down to 45. Now, the cool thing here is if I take a USB cable and I plug it in here, either port works for charging, the battery will start charging. And you'll see that with the lights as they flash. Now, the cool thing here is if I stack another battery on here, it will start charging both of them, or 3 or 4 or whatever amount of batteries you have on there. Now, you only get 45 watts total coming in, so we'll split that between the batteries, and I believe that it will charge the least charged battery first, and then when they're all about the same charge, then they'll all come up together. I believe that's how it works. So this is really handy for if you don't have a lot of charging bricks or a lot of cables. Maybe you're traveling, you don't want to bring a lot of stuff. This will charge slowly, but you only have to plug in one cable, so that's pretty handy. Now, if you're in a rush, you can just separate them and charge each one separately, and you will get 45 watts into each one. So I just want to mention that. So let's talk about the ports that are on here. So we have these ports here. These are USB ports, and they're a special kind of port called the PD Pro, and this is something that Core came out with, and I think there's a lot of importance to just that new kind of cable, and that could probably be a whole nother video, but I do want to mention that here. So these are regular USB ports, so you can plug a regular USB cable in them. But the other cool thing here is that they have this new connector, like I said, called the PD Pro, and they come in lots of different cables. They sent me a few to try out, but if you look at their website, you can pretty much get any cable you're looking for. And the neat thing about these is that they're USB-C, which we all know is probably the most universal power adapter that there is, or connector that there is right now. But most of us know that USB-C is not the most reliable connector because it's easy to bump it, to knock it, to break it, that sort of stuff. So a lot of people will opt for using D-Tap with a lot of accessories. Now, what they made was basically a lockable and reversible connector. So this right here is the PD Pro connector, and when you put it in, it locks in. So it's pretty sturdy, and you have to pull it out pretty hard to get it out, and you can also put it in either direction. So really, really handy. And as like I said, they have a lot of cables. So for example, the ones they sent me, this one is USB-C. We'll use this for a camera. They also sent me a 2-pin LEMO for powering my monitors, and also probably the Pixis as well. And then we also have a barrel connector, which one of my monitors takes. So lots of different options here. And again, these are all USB-C, so they're very well regulated and safe and all that sort of stuff. And they make a lot of cables. I think that this could potentially replace D-Tap in a lot of situations because it just gives you more options and all that sort of stuff. So that's really handy. So the PD Pro ports and cables are really cool. Let me show you around the rest of the battery in terms of ports and other things. So we have 2 PD Pro ports. This green one will put out a total of 90 watts and the black one will do 45 watts. And you can use both at the same time to give you a total output of 135 watts. We also have 1 D-Tap on this side and 1 D-Tap on this side. We also have a button up here which will turn on the battery indicators, and we'll also use that battery for when we connect it to the app. In addition to that, we have a quarter 20 on here, which I'll show you how this will be used a little bit later. So that's basically all around the battery. Let me talk about how to use the app because there's some really cool stuff in there. So this is the Voltbridge ID app, which you can download for free. So let me show you some of the cool things going on in here. So first of all, you can read the information off the battery. It's super quick and easy to do, so let me show you that. So we hit read battery info, and then all you have to do is you take your battery and just hold down the button and put the phone on top of it, and it reads the battery. You can see how quick that is. There's a bunch of information here from the serial number to the battery percentage, the battery health, cycle count, all that stuff. So really handy. Also, there's an asset tag, which I'll show you how to change. You can name each of the batteries. And once you have all the batteries in here, you can just click on one of the batteries and it will tell you the last time it was scanned and all that information that we just saw. So this is really handy if you own a bunch of batteries and you're having trouble keeping track of them or want to get them into a good rotation, or if you're renting them out, or if you're a rental house. You could just scan them every time they come in, and then you have a record of every time they come in and when you scanned it and the health and all that kind of stuff. So really handy. So in addition to being able to pull information off the battery and store it in your app, there's also some settings in the battery that we can change. So let me show you that too. So in the app, we go over to the last page here, and you can write an asset tag, so you can change the names of the batteries. You can also change the LED color, which I think is really cool. So these are set to green, so let's pick a different color. Let's pick blue, hit OK. We press the button. Hold up the phone. Boom. Now we have blue. So this is really cool because it's just fun, but also the fact that for a practical use, you could have 2 sets of batteries. One could be for A cam, one could be for B cam, or if me and another buddy are bringing our batteries, be like mine are blue, yours are green, you can tell right away. Of course, you can scan them and figure that out too. But I think that's pretty neat. So there's not too many other things in here, but let me just show you them briefly. So we have the storage mode. You can activate storage mode in the battery. You also have the ability to change the firmware of the battery in the future, and then change your password. So there's only a couple other things in the menu here in the app, but I think it's pretty cool that you can pull the information off the battery and store that in the phone. Also, the ability to change the battery color and also to change the names of the battery. So now let me talk about rigging and how you might want to use these batteries. So the whole center of this system really does revolve around this plate, which Core sells. And this is a really well-made plate. It's pretty heavy duty and the build quality is awesome. I believe at the time of recording this plate's only going for $39, which I think is pretty reasonable. There's a lot of flexibility in how you mount this, as you could probably already see between all the holes and V-mount and stuff like that. I'm going to show you all that sort of stuff. But taking a look quickly around to the back side of it, we do have the magnets here, and this is where the battery will snap onto. And yeah, it's very strong. It also comes with this little coin that sits in here with a magnet, so you don't lose that to tighten down this. This is a quarter 20. So first of all, I want to show you how you can use this in a sort of handheld mirrorless situation, and then I'll show you how to rig it up in a sort of more traditional V-mount situation as well, because you can use it for those two and probably some other ways that I haven't thought about. So the first of which is probably let's talk about the mirrorless camera. And I made a lot of content about the R5C on this channel, especially about battery life because it hasn't been that good. Although recently with the new LPE6P battery that comes with the R5 II, you get more battery life. And if you're curious about that, I'll leave that video link down below. But often you are looking to add more battery life and different options. So there have been some other situations or products that you could put on the bottom of cameras, but I do really like this implementation. So let me show you how this works. So first of all, there is a little picture here that says, you know, lens aimed that way. So let's put this on the bottom with the quarter 20. Take off the little coin there. So I'm going to put this on here. I love how you just don't lose it either. So I'm going to screw this in. Get this straight-ish. Pop this back in here. So now we have the camera with the plate on the bottom. It feels really nice. It doesn't stick out too far on the side here. So it looks like it's made to go on this. And now let's pop a battery on the bottom here. So like I said, just snaps on the bottom and boom, this is all mounted on the bottom. Now I really like this because of the weight distribution and sort of the way that it fits on the camera. You can see that it looks pretty solid. Also, just if you've done a lot of handheld shooting, you know that adding weight to your camera will make it more stable. Also the weight's at the bottom, which helps keep this a little bit more balanced if you are shooting handheld. So let me get this all connected up. And for this, I'm gonna use one of the PD Pro connectors. This one is PD Pro to USB-C, and they're both right angles. So let me get this hooked up. Now you can plug this into either one, but we'll just plug into the green one. And then plug this into the camera. And there we go. So now we have a very compact setup. I do love how these are all right angles here, so you can see how flush and simple that looks. And this could be a really nice way to operate the camera. Now, if you're in a really quick run and gun situation, you don't even want to deal with taking off, you know, cables, you can just snap another battery to the bottom and you have a taller setup now, but at the same time, you have more battery power. Now, these are 49 watt-hour batteries, like I said before. The battery that's inside of the Canon cameras, the LPE6NH and the LPE6P, these are 16 watt-hours. So essentially get 3 more batteries with this on the bottom of that. In addition to that, remember, we still have all those other ports. So we still have another USB-C port. We have 2 DTAP ports. So we can use those to power things like follow focus or video transmission or a monitor or whatever. We still have a lot of ports, and this is very compact and really easy to swap out. Now, in addition to all of those things, you're probably wondering, you know, how do you put this on a tripod? Well, there's a quarter 20 on the bottom, and there is some rating on their website for how many pounds and stuff you can put on that. But I don't think it will be a problem if you have, you know, a decent sized lens on the front. This shouldn't be a problem. The only thing I could think of is if you are trying to swap these out, you only have one plate, you'd probably have to swap the plate, or you could put you know, a plate on each of these batteries and just swap them out. But I think this is a really cool idea for mirrorless cameras if you want to keep it small and compact. Now let's talk about how to rig this up with V-mount and those sorts of situations. So if your rig has a V-mount setup, you can still use this plate, and it's pretty clever how it works. So let me show you. So on the back of every V-mount battery, you have this shape here, this triangle or this V, and this pops into your V-mount plate. This is a small rig battery. They all kind of work the same way, although I would like to get some core V-mounts. They look really sweet. So this pops into your V-mount plate, and it snaps in, locks in, and then you press some sort of button or lever to get it back out. So that's how they all work. Now, if you look here, there is this triangle that's built into the plate here, and it's just held in magnetically. This triangle, you can see, is very similar to the one off the battery. So this will screw in here and allow this to snap into a V-mount plate. Now, one thing I want to point out here is that there are these 2 little ridges here and one on the bottom, and they sit into these right here. So make sure when you get this in here, you do line this up correctly. So we're going to screw this in. Like I said, just making sure that those line up as you tighten it in. It'll make it a lot more stronger. All right, there we go. And now we have a V-mount. So this will pop into your V-mount plate just like it normally would. Boom, there you go. So if this is set up on the back of your rig, you can just pop that in. So I tried out the snap plate with the different V-mount setups that I have. Of course, they're all gonna be a little bit different. As I just showed you, it worked really well with this one here. This is a small rig one with rails. Now, a lot of you may have seen my video that I made about this one here. This is from Small Rig. And I'll leave this video link down below. Basically, a mirrorless camera will sit in here, and then you can slide the V-mount on the back. I use this a lot on my R5C. The thing is that I tried this on here, and this doesn't work. And I'm not going to blame this on Core. This is an issue with SmallRig, I believe. That's something that's unique about this adapter. What I did find is that the little V that comes with the SmallRig plate, this comes with this when you buy it, this one works fine. So this one snaps in, so you can actually screw this into the core plate and it worked fine. The only thing that I don't like about this is it doesn't have those little, notches or little tabs that stick out to notch in, so it can twist a little bit, but you can definitely mount this on here if you do have this plate. So anyways, just want to let you know because I know a lot of people probably bought these after watching that video and you might be curious if you can use that. Well, hopefully you're as excited as I am and you saw some of the ingenuity that Core is coming up with in terms of batteries. I think a lot of us have just gotten used to the way the batteries are, and I think this opens up a lot of possibilities that I may not have even thought of already. I'm already starting to think about ways I can implement these batteries into a lot of the rigs and setups that I have. Of course, I really do like that handheld setup that I showed you with the R5C, but I could see this definitely going on other cameras, especially like I said earlier, when you're using 12G SDI, and this can sort of, you can hot swap them very easily. And I think, or this could just be there to power accessories, lots of cool stuff. You could also use this to power like, audio recorders and other things going on. I also think this new technology with the PD Pro ports are really cool, and there's a lot of possibilities there, and I really do like this connection. So I'm really loving these so far. I just got them recently, and I'm starting to play with them, and I'll maybe have to make a follow-up down the road or something when I get to use these more and incorporate them into more rig videos and things like that. If you are interested in picking up, there are links down in the description below. Huge thanks to Core for sending these out to play with them. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, hit subscribe. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next one.